It's a bit more of a poking fight for Navi. Naga trying to put out a good portion of damage, but it is the Namor that goes down. Bierback is going to make sure that it is still a 6v6 as the objective is about to start to open up. But as we sort of highlighted pre-show, it really is just a brawl of very small fights on the objective.
Of OUG, but with that Cosmic Yarn Amplifier dropped early and picked off early, OUG are running out of tools to sustain. It's Jeff into the backline for the early pickup here to try and grab someone. Counter Jeff, double pickup, heading for the edge. Tidal Surge is countered.
Instantly taken out. There is a Karmic Revival for Naga though, but it's just losing one player. You don't need to worry about it too much. You have the fate of both worlds if you really feel on the back foot, but you've taken the objective. You've provided yourself some space to push OUG back, and even though they have 4 ultimates themselves, they have to give up the objective for a first time.
Kind of getting an all-angles assault onto OUG into the Goddess of Death to avoid that extra damage and the focus of DRP solo shield. It's Jeff for the healing. Taro takes out Fate. Molan Ran is taken out by Naga, who is already built up to a Karmic Revival, which is going to get dropped to bring them back into this fight.
They also do have the Captain America ultimate to try to sustain this engagement if it's not going well. Naga's going to be taken down, not able to be brought back, but there it is. Freedom Charge is going to allow a little bit more progression to be made. OUG pretty much on the edge of being able to take the objective for the first time so far, but the elimination feed is still sort of lighting up in that Navi light blue as the picks have been traded either side.
Here comes this Jeff into the backline once again from Fate, and this time they don't have the angle to target them down, but don't have the distance with
He's
2,
out.
1. There they go, but Strange, no cloak. The cloak isn't available. Mag is actually able to get down there with the magnetic descent.
Out of the 2 Vanguards, I didn't expect it would be the Magneto that would survive that one, but
right?
A little bit lucky. 99% is pretty much about to hit. Is there going to be any place from OUG to able to trigger overtime? It's looking likely, but they are losing out on numbers. There is a Goddess of Death available for OUG now. It's straight up in the sky. It's one less player to actually contest the objective, but the angles are poor. They can't quite catch where Navi is standing.
Mash is trying to make it to a position where they can go for it. It's Jeff, but overtime is ticking down. Do on the point is trying to hold. They need the healing output. They have an Eye of Agamotto. Molan over to the Iron Fist just to roll back in time as Portal has come back in. But where's the reinforcements? OUG just cannot sustain on that point. And Navi, a very solid first round.
Just narrow fights in the end for OUG. They were able to take the objective.
Right in the doorway for the quick blow-up, and it is Mash, forced to retreat, dropping down to the low ground, and Navi will roll out, but OUG do avoid that initial engage.
They are forced to the low ground though, and Navi, they have a couple of players touching on the point 5 seconds before it opens up, so OUG now, it's a flip of the spawns, both teams switching either side, but you can see that they're trying to isolate individual players from OUG just to catch them all behind, because there's not going to be that much peel available to them. Meteor M is going to be used off the rip from DRB. He's actually able to get a pick. That is a key area for OUG to be able to push forward, but the Galactic Legend used on the other side has actually turned his back in favor for Navi.
They can turn and take this.
Able to get free, actually. The Galactic Legend is going to come out from tower, so he's up in the sky, but there's too many bodies, and those bodies are actually just running straight at him. Absolutely no fear, no picks really able to get off of the back of the main duelist line for OUG, because they've gone triple strategist. So much focus goes into that character getting those picks.
And look at the resets, using the right-click cancel here for Naga so they can get extra damage. Cosmic Cluster into the back of Do. Headshots galore here, forcing a full retreat, finally picked off.
95% on the board for Navi. OUG unable to get too much. Karmic Revival is going to be used, and it's wasn't going to force Captain America back onto the objective.
The
Overtime is able to be hit, and the Galactic Legend for Jerky is trying to put the nail into the coffin of this first map. OUG trying to find shells, they're trying to touch, able to, but it's for a split second. Navi taking that first domination map very cleanly.
Very nicely done. Massive staggers. Once again, we just see Navi ulting second almost every single time. The only time they're ulting first is when they have the better angle with the Star-Lord, that Galactic Legend, able to find 1 or 2 people basically every time, and then Jerky, knowing where to be in all of those fights to find those quick blow-ups. Rajaro, able, not even needed for the portal reinforcements there as the MV.
He's been spotted. He's trying to close the distance a little bit, but Navi have been clever, trying to bunker up, make it very difficult. Iron Fist is going to try and sort of wax on, wax off his approach up against the Groot. There's a lot of barriers broken down, but the brawl isn't seemingly going anybody's way up until Jerky does get taken down. Navi losing out on their only duelist so far as they're still committing to that triple strategist. But Naga, with the damage he's able to do on Adam, it feels like you're not really missing that DPS. That meant that Navi, okay, you get Jeff, we're going to stop the Venom being in play. Means that the comfort is there. Yarn Amplify is going to be used. The Jeff is thrown him into the defender spawn. instantly deleted, instantly taken out, and OUG, they were building some momentum, Tetra. It's dissipated entirely.
From Jerky, one of the first to go down, but here comes the Living Chi from Molan round into the backline to see if they can create an opening for the side of OUG with Vincere from Rajaro, catches on the wall, will not find a target, and Jerky will be taken down, and that percentage damage onto Groot is so hard to deal with.
It's something that NAVI have to adjust to, but that strategist backline is getting hit enough. Naga goes down, but he got the Life Cocoon passive that brings it back into play. He might just want to go for the cancel, go for a reset, and allow NAVI to go for another engagement because the payload is still moving towards the end of this checkpoint, and OUG is still going.
The damage, the Darts and the Butterfly recently buffed Age might not give time for those deflects.
Just allows you to be in and out of these fights. NAVI trying to be a little bit more high tempo, a bit more fluid, trying to adjust as things go on. Dance the Butterflies from Jerky is going for where the Be Right Back is placed. No eliminations come off of the back of it. OUG still holding on. They still have 3 players on the objective, and there's nobody from NAVI to contest. Now they're able to at least touch it as the Comet Revival is going to be used to bring people back. So the resets for NAVI coming in thick and fast, and OUG, basically when they get an ultimate, they just use it off the rip.
And Naga brings back everyone who went down in that fight, meaning that the numbers continue to...
Hasn't changed over from the Iron Fist just yet. And I mean, he seems to be going in for the dive. The Living Chi is going to be used as the aggression comes in. The combination with the Feast of the Abyss from DRP is so good. It's allowed some space for OUG to be created. It's getting the eliminations. And now it's forcing out both strategy ultimates from NAVI.
Invisible boundary for the extra sustained buying time. Naga swapping over to the Winter Soldier as they were taken down in that fight. Meteor from Rajaro to absorb that extra psionic seduction damage. The attempt at the crowd control, but it takes on through. But Jerky finds the opening with all those tools used for the setup of OUG. Navi dive the backline and Jerky finds an opening. But OUG, they're not done yet.
The Psylocke down to the Butterflies now. You're sort of wondering where things are going to come from. It's the ultimate from Angela, the cleave trying to come through, and it's managed to catch onto the Rocket. He has no way of disengaging in this fight, but he's got so many other strategists holding on to him that he's not gone down.
The barrier buys a lot of time. Beautiful use. But say, if Navi wants to stay this, they have to burn strategist ults.
They can contest this. The Fate of Both Worlds has to come out. Are they worried about anything following off the back of it? Well, the Living Chi is grabbed from Mulan Ran, and it's going to be used near enough instantly. Level 1 Grok is going to go down. He's not able to do anything. Just off the back of the invisible boundary, he's forced out of it. And this Iron Fist is absolutely stomping through from OUG. Able to take the points, so there's maybe a chance for Navi to engage here and stall this out because D'Angelo, trust me, is still there. He's been there all this time.
He's buying so much time just with the mobility onto the point, but the Cosmic Yard Amplifier comes on out. They get the extra sustain. They've given themselves the overhealth from both the Cosmic Yard Amplifier and that bonus portal comes in. But they're blocked by the cart. They can't sustain it because they couldn't make it onto the portal. Find the positioning as Taro. They're going to use the opening. They're trying to force out strategist ultimates. They don't even need to. They just get the pickup. But Naga on the other side is going to force a reset. While Taro was able to get a good opening, there's no one in position to stop Naga just unleashing.
It was a really good reactive call to stop OUG from continuing this scary attacking side, but they have 90 seconds left to actually push towards the end, force back to the attacker spawn for the time being, whilst the rest of NAVI, who are on this defense, are pretty comfortable with the ultimates they have available. Now it's a case of trying to farm up what they have. They moved over to that Ultron for Jerky to just add in more damage to stop OUG being able to string things along. And if that Living Chi comes in again, the instant response, you got the damage boost from the Iron Amplifier as it's trying to cut through all of this healing that has been put out from Navi. Unable to get a pick this time, but it's required a lot. Never mind, he's able to get Krupp just at the end of it.
Straggling Prison for the setup. The card actually pushes Molan around a bit further, but he's not going to get taken out with the Meteor Rev. Going to be blocked out from the extra bonus health. Full retreat from Rajaro. Looking onto the Venom DRP, knocked back with the backcannon. Fate of Both Worlds for the opening. Naga, Galactic Legend, to try and melt through, to try and maintain, to try and create an opening. But the patty cake from the strategist is keeping everyone topped up here. And now Taro with the mirror gets Jerky on the Ultron, gets Naga, and OUG over Ultra Gaming are pushing on through to the final points. We need fast rollout swaps from Navi if they want any hope, but with everyone down, with everyone staggered, Jerky's trying to try and rush it, dash onto the point, but they cannot reach a triple cap from over Ultra Gaming.
It just felt like the teams had swapped a little bit, like OUG waiting. I think it was just Tower just gets that ultimate right at the last second.
Pull anyone out of position. They get DRP with the pullback from the Force Physics to isolate them as they continue to rush on forward.
whilst these teams have played in the past at international events, NAVI are very used to dealing with DRP on the Venom in the same way, making sure that he can't swing out and it's an easy pick off. He's isolated. Back in this engagement off using the be right back, but you can see just how much focus NAVI have to make sure that if he is going to try and engage, there's no way out.
It's Jeff, only finds Luna, but that's an easy isolation and a good pickup. Taking them through the window, trying to make it to spawn, won't reach, so they just drop them into their own team to see if they can get the pickup, but no Fate of Worlds! Delays! Smash is able to keep this fight going for at least a little bit longer. Taro couldn't be able to survive that Kraken impact for that, meaning no more resets for the side of NAVI, but with the final judgment to push on through, to create an opening and try and burst through OUG, who are just continuing to delay. Taro is taken down, but now someone can swap over to Strange and portal back.
That was a very yes, 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 no, yes play from Fate. Just almost forcing Mash to go in with the Fate of both worlds. The copy is going to come in from the God of Mischief from Molan Ran to just keep more time being bought up from OUG. They're still sticking to this triple Vanguard, triple strategist as much as they possibly can. And they're forcing out a lot more from NAVI. From the top rope, Rajaro tries to come in and is able to connect onto Free and able to take Mash out of the server for the time being. Kind of fights, it's going to be strong. DRP switching over towards the Strange allows a portal play with 90 seconds left on the clock, Tetcher. It means that really now they can just buy a little bit more time. You've got Jerky that sat there with the Kraken's impact, and that combination with the Strangler Prison is enough to clean up house. There's nothing for OUG to rely on from the strategist backline, so the resets are easy for Jerky.
The resets with the Logi clones, the reset for the initial engage. Naga retreats round the corner and everyone else takes cover. Only Trustme's going to get pulled in with a percentage damage. Here comes the Omega Hurricane and Jeff is at the ready. Jeff Nato to take down Taro, but they're brought back at the BRB. They've only found one. Meaning for the counter. Look at the Trustme. They eat that with nothing coming from it. The beautiful pickup from Naga. Roger with the counter on the Eye of Agamotto is going to be pushing onto that downstairs area to try and create an opening, but the Cosmic Yard Amplifier is buying them so much time. Chi into the back line. Molan gets the double. Looks for more. Naga is in full retreat. Routed from an opening with an Omega Hurricane Jeff Nato into a huge counter from OUG.
How is the riposte, I suppose, from both teams? You've got OUG going aggressive with that Emma Frost ultimate, and then the Omega Hurricane going into the backline. OUG may be overextended, and then the Jeff Nato on top of it. It was crazy that OUG still had the bodies and the numbers to fight, and then the damage boost onto Living Chi. Molan Ran is turning Iron Fist into something that's crazy.
They've set up beautifully, struggling Prism while Groot gets locked down. Jerky finds everything. Trooper's Fist, the pickup, Taro is down. It's essentially a team.
And it's 2.5 minutes on the clock, so you will have the portal available if it does go to overtime, as NAVI are looking to match what OUG did by hitting the end of this map. Jeff Nato trying to clean up and catch whatever they can, but the Fate of both worlds fights that we've seen at Eye of Agamotto come out. The follow-through from NAVI has been sublime to make sure that those picks actually come through. Jerky's going in, it's that Strangler Prison combination yet again, able to get Mash, but everybody else from OUG has tried to spread out as much as possible. Reset's not looking likely for Jerky at this point, and Taro is still able to find these picks, so the numbers are still in favor of OUG on this defense.
They interrupted the Astral Flock, preventing the opening, and a lot of pressure on that higher ramp so they can try and get some kind of potential hold on. Proteus into the backline, knocked down into Jerky. Invisible boundary from Crook is at the ready. It's Jeff for the healing on the point to try and pick off the spawn people. Do is taken down but brought back at the BRB. Luna is going to be isolated, sent sailing off the map, and we are just seeing a slow stagger of the members of OUG, unable to touch the point, and NAVI even us up at 3 apiece.
Closer, both teams managing to finish over on Midtown. The dive is going in from OUG. DRP is taking a lot of that focus, even the pushback, the force physics means that he's trying to scarper, but Naga only has one target in his sight line, and now Molan Ran doesn't have that duo to work with. They're being so well in sync, and the Strangler Prison's going to be used. A bit more of a fight back from Taro over on that Psylocke, not too far away from having a dance of the butterflies, but NAVI looking to be winning this fight as OT is looming.
Feast from the Abyss, Psionic Seduction, and Living Chi is going to melt through Trust Me, but they're diving it. They're going to ignore Trust Me to try and take out Jeff instead. Remove the healing, remove the sustain, Karmic Revival. Naga brings back everyone.
There's now more of a fight to go in. Molan Ran wants to try and cleave as many people as he possibly can, but there's just too much to go for Rajaro with a Meteor M. It hits the target, but there's way too much healing and sustain for OUG that keeps them in the fight. Overtime still, half that wick is left alive. 3 players from OUG hitting the point. One of them is Molan Ran, who's just not going to let go of the left click. He's not going to keep swinging. He's got so much time to work with. As trust me, he's now got the Strangler Prison on the farm. He's able to use it instantly, and with all of these walls, he's trying to separate OUG these sightlines and make sure that these people actually go down.
They weren't able to find the target invisible boundary for the side of Navi. Crook is keeping them sustained on this fight, but OUG just keep coming back. Doos onto the Captain America for the quick rollout. Portal for the reinforcement from Navi as Naga is forced to portal them back. They don't have a comic revival anymore. It's already been used, so you might as well get your team back a different way. Beautiful Troopers Fists Fold is going to bring back Taro, but now Molan is off the point. Face from the Abyss with the anti-heal, but it does not matter. The healing output is good. The barrier is insane, but they still get Crook. It's Jeffers in the backline, Crack and Impact to hold them one more time. Jerky is going to get swallowed, but will be brought back to the point very quickly. Now it's just Captain America, literally just delayed, literally just keep them off the point for every extra second. But Navi, they're melting, they're deleted off the point, Ryan.
It's such a... They didn't hear no bell. OUG have been fighting for their lives here in Atlanta.
They're creating an opening. Strangling Prison coming on in. Grabs Molan and Do with the wall. I have a Komodo to trap the strategist. He drops both to prevent the healing. Down goes Mash. Spald is taken out. Do with the freedom charges, giving every extra second that they can, meaning Molan is going to be able to try and focus onto the backline, but they take it out with the Maelstrom of Madness. Feast from the Abyss to buy time. But DRP cannot hold this alone. Crack and Impact will not land, but it does not need to. The timer is gone. And Navi hold just before first point.
And there's only less than 2 minutes for OUG to try to make sure that 132 meters is hit. OUG pretty much are people on the objective right at the beginning, and Navi just coming out of the trapdoors absolutely gleaming, meaning that Dewey has to sort of run all the way back. At least there's a trade on the side of Jerky, and it's wasted a bit more time, but that could have been disastrous for OUG.
Sustained, so now they can just charge up and melt on through the bounces. The deflex, Fate of Both Worlds has to be used, but Molan Ran is already down. Strangling Prison for the setup, isolating, trapping the team away. Fate of Both Worlds is site-based. If you can split them off from those targets, the invisible boundary traded out, but they're still not dealing with these vanguards.
They're not able to go on through. Molan Ran has switched over towards the Psylocke to give some more damage. OUG to push this right towards the end, and Navi is still throwing all of these ultimates one by one to cut through them, but Jerky goes down as he has the hand of Khonshu.
But they do have a couple people picking up here from this Jeff Nado. They dropped a lot of damage output, but we still see OUG sustained. Ayamoto! They got knocked back, but it's still enough to try and focus on the Doom, but the healing output is just too good! Doom refuses to go down! DRP is picked off and already brought back at the Cosmic, at the Battle Rebirth Beacon. Freedom charge for the bonus health. Hand of Khonshu for the zoning. Jerky gets mashed. They try to retreat out of it. Strangling Prison to group them up. Group Wall is actually denying a little bit of Jerky damage, but it's more than enough to prevent the healing. But now OUG have the chance for the re-engage. It's overtime. All they have to do is to take one more fight. They're going for a portal trap.
This is like Looney Tunes action here. Who are they going to try and catch out? They're trying to see if there's going to be that changeover. As DRP is switched over, he's going for it. Is the portal going to be there enough in time? He might be able to drop, and it's just narrow. He's able to get in and around it, but Dewey goes down whilst all of this hijinks is going on.
It bought time, and now we're in the overtime, ticking down with the extra dance of the butterfly to the backline, but everyone is able to retreat out. Except Crook and Jerky picked off on the backline, with Rajaro unable to portal his team back. It's Molan Ran on the Psylocke, taking them down one by one. Navi, your world champions, are looking for an opening, but the timer is not on their side. Jerky's on Spider-Man to try and touch, and he cannot reach. We are even.
We're going to a map 3 OUG, the pickup group, because they're missing players from the China region, that top seed, able to bring a little bit of that EMEA charm, an Iron Fist, and a whole lot of nerve against the world champions of Navi to bring us to a full best of 3.
Molan Ran, one of the most flexible players in this game, bringing out Iron Fist, bringing out that Battle Rebirth Beacon, allowing Rajaro to use this opening to step up. Huge choke point created by OUG as they use that lower ground for deep.
And it's looking like Navi are at least going to be able to get a third on this first point.
We're back where we were, right before the resets as they push on in. Crook healing up Naga, who once again have that tidal dirge. Anti-heal for the setup even before the Feast from the Abyss. Cosmic Yarn Amplifier for Fate to give them that extra damage, but they've lost Jerky in the first setup of this fight. Taro is down as well, so duelist for duelist, but now Molan Ran, if they can get in before Crook is charging up with that Dance of the Butterflies, could be enough to burst them through with the tidal dirge to try and prevent some anti-heal, but they find nothing with that great evasion by Navi.
They managed to force Navi completely off of the objective though, which means that there's enough time for this stall to come in a little bit more. OUG though...
He turned into diamond form after arriving, and I expect there was some regret.
Oh yeah, thanks, grab.
No, thanks, I have mobility now. Meteor M coming in from DRP, not able to find his time as Jerky takes to the sky with the Goddess of Death is sieging onto Do, who's forced to use that Liberty Rush to back away.
Having to play his own little game to try to sort of support the backline. He now has a little bit of help from Dewey that's over on the Captain America to go for these dives, but it's so difficult when you have the Namor and the Hela that want to fight from distance. Now you have got Rajara that's the one that's really sticking Navi into these brawls, into these engagements, using the Psionic Seduction, but OUG are completely split here, and the other half are being taken out one at a time.
Pushing on with the title Dirge to get the anti-heal to force DRP to step up to create some zoning for their teams because the Yard Amplifier is going to be coming out, but Jerky's already got the double. Taro is looking for any kind of reset if they can get onto Crook, but no, shut down there. Taro loses the resets. Jerky taking a lot of damage, but here comes that fade of both worlds into the invisible boundaries. Fold trying to hold Horn of Proteus into the backline. Finds Fold, shuts down the boundary. Beautiful setup here as Molan continues to siege on in, swapping over to the Namor themselves, straggling prison for the setup. Kraken Impact for a turnaround, and Taro is finding the opening, is shutting down Navi, and Navi will be forced to reset. And it's slow but steady. Psionic Seduction from Rajaro with Feast from the Abyss on the backline. Pulling in one, pulling in two, and Navi are creating an opening. Everyone's tagging through for the moment. Due's finally going to go down. Kraken Impact on the turnaround for the reset. And Jerky is fighting them. Naga is down, but they only need one. If they can just keep the resets going. The Winter Soldier duel. Trooper's Fist, it goes down, but no resets are available.
Not only was it a great ultimate from Rajara, who's had a really good series so far for Navi, it's Trust Me again in the backline. It was almost like a switchable, harassing nightmare. Now you've got the Arm Amplifier for Fate that's really allowed this fight for OUG to touch on the edge of it. You've got the invisible boundary used, you've got the Horns of Proteus coming down, and have actually gone in favor of the Chinese team.
They're able to hold the Fate of both worlds, keeping the rest of Navi up, but they lost Fate and Jerky. Fate is moving over to Storm to get Jerky back quicker, because they don't want to lose that ultimate on Jerky. No, Jerky swaps over. Due is zoning on the Doctor Strange of their own. Here comes the portal, attacking from both angles. Psionic Seduction to take out the squids. Rajaro has a great angle on this setup. Molan is down to Naga in the Namor. Jules falls, and we're starting to see Navi creating an opening here. Trying to burst through the vanguards, and no one's close. No one can touch. Taro can't make it, and Navi get the triple.
Just with no time left, and it's between a rock and a hard place for OUG.
Meaning their damage output is maximum, melting through DRP, melting through the Groot here. Molan is already taken out of the backline, though, as once again Naga has found an off angle.
Looking like a 12 ultimate fight, Tetcher. Brace yourself because everything's going to be thrown in.
But
again, Molan, just as it looked like OUG were about to go in, Navi interrupts them, stalls more time, and there's only 90 seconds left.
The Venom team up there from Jerky, trapping Groot in that fight for at least a little bit of the Feast from the Abyss on Trust Me onto all of the backline. Anti-heal is good, the lockdown with the freeze, false physics, forced to dash away with the arrival, with the Psionic Seduction to try and pull them on in. Meteor M into the backline to look for anyone. Crook avoids him, but it's caught by the Mac Cannon.
Yeah, DRP's had some moments against Navi, I think, when he played on Chop that he couldn't connect some Meteor M's, but the follow-up is perfect. A nice little 1-2 in the Goddess of Death and the invisible boundary used from Navi. Put under a bit more pressure, but just as Dewey uses the Strangling Prism just on the outside, DRP is absolutely cleaned up, and Molan ran back into the fight, is able to find progression onto the point, and maybe that first cap here. You're expected to almost lose it, but making sure that the majority of that time bank has gone from OUG is a key one, especially if you're just going to win the fight afterwards like Naga's doing.
Naga is always on that right angle from above onto the X.
The swing is able to get him out, but there's still a little bit of walking for him to do. Molan ran seed if he could try and cut in between, but he's shot out of the sky by Crook of all people.
Crook picking them off. That wasn't even with the clap. They were just able to take that with a basic order, which isn't a hit scan ability. Moving on in, keeping the team tops up. Psionic Seduction for the step up. Kraken Impact from Taro takes out Trust Me. Meteor M to buy a little bit of extra damage time. And with Kraken Impact reset, Taro is looking for one more. Caught by the Meteor M. Visible boundary buying time, but they're tethered with the Venom team.
Fat OUG, Molan is going to try and reset, see if he can try to synergize up with the team on the call. But the focus is so much onto Molan. It's not even on DRP that's trying to sort of leap in and go for these engagements. It is just making sure that Molan cannot have the same success that he had on Midtown.
Jerky's looking for the right angles, able to take down one. Reset, which of course means more squids, and that means more monstros, more damage, more pressure, and it's a snowball for NAVI. Every pickup they get just makes them stronger, pushing them all the way back. Naga almost gets Diff there, almost taken down, but already has that Horn of Proteus charged up. It's up to Trust Me and Jerky. If they can get the setup with that tether, they might be able to land that they might be able to land that Horn of Proteus. There's the tether. Are they going for the follow-up? Do they need to? Tidal Dirge. Fate of Both Worlds will get dropped out from the side of MASH, so OUG, if NAVI can wait it out, they might be able to just blow them up as overtime ticks on down. They're taking out all of the opportunities that OUG might have to take a refight.
Yeah, OUG are just struggling to keep in the neutral up against NAVI when nothing's really been dedicated.
Proteus?
Now the Horn of Proteus is going to be used, and follow-up means that Taro is going to be down just as the Kraken's Impact was available. Now OUG, if you have it, you want to use it, otherwise you're 0-2 in this group stage on day one. DRP.
They've turned it. We're heading back in immediately as Molan, with that low HP, is taken down, becomes a monster with the team up. We're going to have to see Due maybe touch that point on the Captain America. They have the free charge for the bonus health to try and sustain on through this. We've already got bodies on the point. DRP with several members of NAVI taken down. NAVI are forced to back up and reset here. Ultimates in favor of OUG as they have the Kraken Impact and the Freedom Charge.
Half of that overtime wick is gone, so OUG are going to start to stress a little bit more, which means that NAVI, little lovely play that they like to do, you already saw it, Trust Me, is into the backline trying to separate the focus, and it means that Molanran, who's moved over towards the Strange to go for the portal, gets taken out by Rajaro that's on the Emma. The Silent Seduction is going to follow instantly. How on earth are OUG going to survive this? The Freedom Charge is going to help, but not for Taro.
They got the Freedom Charge, they can delay. Molanran moves over to Wolverine, a fast roller, and could potentially pull people off the point, but that overtime is ticking down, and you need to touch the point while Hela rains down fire to try and punish them. The Fate of Both Worlds is buying time, but you can burst through it if you get the full targeting. Meteor Ram to buy time! Croc is gone! And OUG are trying to look for an opening. We see the dive in. Taro's onto that Star-Lord. Molanran's on the Iron Fist to melt through, Trust Me, and NAVI defense is disintegrated!
There's a little bit more fight back that's coming in, but DRP is going up against the team that eliminated him from EMEA in Stage 2, but Rajaro is putting him in his place. There was a chance for OUG to cause a hell of an upset, but NAVI adjust.
They saved it. Barely. That looked like OUG were taking it, but it just took one brawl from the end.